In this video, we're going to be discussing frequently asked questions about your broadcast mix for your church's live stream, and we're going to be specifically focusing on the mixing in a box method, where you're going to be using a separate computer, running a DAW, in our case, Ableton Live, that's doing all the processing, mixing, and mastering and recording for your church's live stream. This week, this is a topic that is definitely on our mind here at Churchfront as we are relaunching Broadcast Mix Mastery. It's our online course. It's been out for over a year and a half now. We've had hundreds of churches enroll in this course to help them achieve a radio-ready professional mix for their church's live stream. And this is the exact same method that we use here at South Fellowship Church every single Sunday. As we are launching this update this week, I just want to address all the questions that have been coming in, whether in YouTube comments or by email, questions about mixing in a box, and then questions about our online course launch. The link for that course is down below. Sign up before Friday night, October 8th to get 60% off because the price will be increasing for the new version of the course. If you're already enrolled in the old version, you get access to the new version. No need to re-enroll. Let's dive into the first frequently asked question. Why Ableton Live and not other DAWs, DAWs, digital audio workstation? 3 different ways to say the same thing. A software that can process, mix, and master audio and record audio on a computer. So why Ableton Live, Adam?
It's just built for live use. It's in the name. Ableton Live.
It is in the name.
So we've found it to be super reliable. Like, we've both used this in different worship ministries for I don't know how many years for backtracks and other things. And it's just super stable. It's like low latency. Well, not in this case, but the way that we're using it here. But it's low CPU. Like, it just is built to be used live, not necessarily just for a studio environment, although it can do that as well.
Yeah.
And other DAWs, they work, but they're built for studio use more.
Yeah.
So they're not going to be as stable.
Yeah. And I will say, like, you can follow a lot of the principles we teach and use DAWs like Pro Tools and Logic or Studio One, Reaper, all sorts of DAWs out there. So for us, as we're creating courses, we're trying to this course is one course out of many courses we have for our clients in worship ministry school, and Ableton really kind of checks all the boxes. Maybe there's some weaknesses to it compared to Pro Tools or Logic. There's just some certain things maybe I would prefer in the user interface of some of those other DAWs, but we prefer training worship ministries really on one DAW because you can use a DAW. We actually use a DAW on a Sunday morning for 3 different purposes: running tracks and automating MIDI cues. Number 2 would be a virtual sound check next to our mixing console, and then a DAW for our broadcast mix setup. So strategically for us, to keep things simple, I don't like to have to like translate in between DAWs as I'm like going to different workstations. It's nice to just know the same concepts for routing audio, plug-in chains, all that stuff, and recording. So since I've been a long time Ableton user, when we're going to start using a DAW more regularly, that's what really drew me to it, is like it's my favorite DAW, and I just want to be more efficient with using this one. And then I think there are some performance advantages. It's very efficient, as Adam said, compared to other DAWs, which are known to crash more often when you don't want them to crash.
Yep.
Cool. Why Mac and not PC? Because a lot of these DAWs are cross-platform. I'll start off with that one. So we have attempted to assist people with PC setups doing this, and we can show you how to use the ACO drivers and things like that with the PC mixing with Ableton, but it's just very limiting. So, and I was actually talking to a friend who is in the middle of major software development projects for a music-related application, and he was just saying how in the Mac world, probably put iOS in here as well, the infrastructure they have in place for audio drivers is just much more robust and reliable for audio-related applications when you compare it to PC. So some of you guys might disagree with that. I don't know. That was what I've heard, and it's also just what I've experienced. Yep. It's very clunky trying to get things up and running with PC, and we've gotten to the place now where we're using 5 or 6, I lost count, Mac Minis, base model Mac Minis, including for our broadcast mix workstation. But that's all we use now for all of our computers. They're very powerful. It's very consistent across the board. We're still waiting on some updates to happen, like Dante compatibility with M1 chips. But man, it saves so much time and headache and money at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Like a $700 computer is doing a multi-track with like, I don't know, what do we got? Like 30 some odd channels simultaneously.
You can do 48.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I haven't had an issue with it yet.
Yeah.
So
anything to add to why Mac and not PC?
I've done a lot of coaching calls. Some of you are probably going to join the program. Please don't join with the PC. We have better things to do than resolve issues.
Yeah, it's almost gotten to the point where it costs us more money in time.
Yeah.
Because Adam's paid pretty well, guys. And when he's coaching people, it gets to the point where like instead of paying Adam, for 6 to 7 hours to help someone make a Mac Mini setup worth it, I kind of feel like
a
PC setup worth it. I'd rather just buy a Mac Mini and give it to that church. Like it would literally save us. I'm not going to do that. So don't join our program thinking that's going to happen. But like we're just getting to the point where we're just sick of working with PCs because it just wastes so much time, and time is money. Especially if you're paid at your church, our staff is definitely paid. Please don't waste our time with PCs.
Yep.
Okay. Best front of house mixing console setups for mixing in a box, because you got to take in consideration what's your front of house mixing console, right? So you've got, in our case, we got the Wing. Still our favorite recommendation. Like the more we use it, the more we love it. It's just the haters will be haters, but it's because they don't own a Wing. So, but that's a great console. Then we love the SQ series consoles by Allen and Heath. That's of all the Allen and Heath, you could do a QU, but the QU to me, I'm not a big fan. It's just very limiting.
Yeah.
It's like, let's try to keep this like an analog mixing console, but by trying to make it like an analog console to make the transition easier, like dumb mindset issues around that anyway, but it just makes it a very frustratingly limiting digital console.
You think, I have a digital console, I can do flexible routing, and then, nope, just, that's not how it works.
No, exactly. So don't get nobody should be buying a new QU32 board. If you have one, consider selling it, and then get a SQ or something like that. The couple $1,000 to upgrade is totally worth it. SQ, love that board. X32, still old faithful.
It works.
Routing is flexible. It works great for a setup like you have it here. And then there's other consoles. You could use PreSonus Studio Live, Yamaha TF series, Soundcraft Impact series. Those are consoles, like, again, we can only focus on so many different ecosystems. We're focusing on Behringer and Allen and Heath, specifically SQ. Those other consoles will work as well. It's just we can only focus on, we can only make so many lessons on so many different courses. So, but you can use it. So, okay. Anything to add there?
You also have to consider how many devices you want to connect digitally. So in our case, we have the Wing. It's got 3 AES ports.
Yes, a really nice advantage to the Wing.
Yeah, it's got Dante and the USB port on that console also does 48 by 48, 48 in, 48 out. So like on the X32, there's a USB port that's built into the back of the board, but it's only for data transfer. You have to get a secondary option card. Either the one that comes with it is USB or Dante. So in our case, we can have 2 computers running multi-tracks. We can have the stage computer doing Dante. We can send digital audio a ton of different ways, but some of these consoles only have the option to do it one way. So
that's why I love the Wing. I never really appreciated all the AES-50 ports until we got the Wing, and then we couldn't use Dante with M1 Mac chips. So a great solution, I actually think an even more reliable solution, because Dante, is Dante sometimes, but a more reliable solution is an AES-50 to USB converter, the Clark Technic or whatever it's called converter.
It's been solid.
Yeah, has not glitched on us once. So great things to add there. which leads us to the next question I get, like, how do I get audio from my mixing console to my DAW and back, right? You're sending multi-track audio from your front of house mixing console, like an X32, into your DAW, and then that final mixed audio from Ableton needs to get sent to your live stream. So for us, we use an AES-50 to USB converter. So we've got 48 channels to and from the computer, like in the mixing console. You can use Dante. You can use the built-in USB card that's in your mixing console. Those are the most common ways to do it. Yep. Very important to have that ability, and that's one of the main reasons to have a digital mixer, because you have like this huge audio interface, right? It's an audio interface that's mixing in the room, and then it's sending multi-track audio to your computer.
Yep.
Syncing audio and video, that's very simple to do. For us, it's just applying a delay on the master output in Ableton Live. Because 99% of the time, unless if there's some other weird issue going on, it should be having to delay audio so that it syncs up with video. Video is always going to be slower because it takes longer for the video footage to go through your video switcher, to line it up in program. Dedicated mixing volunteer. So this is a kind of a question I get. Do I need a dedicated mixing volunteer? Or here's I'll back up a little bit more. A lot of people are like, "Hey Jake, we need a better live stream mix," and they're like, "We're just using like a mix bus or matrix from our front of house console." But we really just don't want to have a dedicated mix volunteer. Well, it's like you gotta man up and like recruit someone and train them and just make it happen. Because you're literally like wishing for the moon, but like you're not being realistic about what it takes to get there. It does take a dedicated set of ears to successfully, especially do what we're doing here, mixing in a box. Yeah. And I also asked this person, like, well, how many people are in your church? Oh, about 400. It's like, so really, you can't find one of the 400 people to like, you just got to ask. Like, worship ministries are notoriously just horrible at recruiting people and asking people, because there's a lot of people who would love that job and would love to learn. But yes, you need a dedicated mix engineer, volunteer. They're not going to magically just show up at your doorstep. You got to get out and be proactive to find them. But yeah, we have like 2 or 3 volunteers at this point who are pretty comfortable with doing it. But I will say, what I love about this method, you and I are kind of quality control of our template, right? Often, during the week, we'll make sure everything sounds good because we can listen back to the previous week. That's what I love about doing this, because we can improve things not on a Sunday. And then Sunday comes, the template's ready to go, and you and I just add it to our checklist of things to just make sure it's ready to go, right? Yep. Sometimes you gotta do a few more things when you're trying to accomplish more, like a great broadcast mix. And then the volunteers are good at, we teach them on balancing levels. They're really not often having to dive into plugins to process things. And then we have a great setup for muting and unmuting things throughout the service. So yeah, I don't know if you have any thoughts to add there.
Yeah, I would say that we did find all of our mix engineers, broadcast mix engineers, were people that didn't really do audio previously. Mm-hmm. Like they are not professional audio engineers. They're just people that were interested in serving and wanted to help, and we train them, and they do a good job.
Yeah. Is it as good as when you or I mix? No, but like it's getting better. It just takes time, and like you have to be like, we're not perfectionists. Like I'd rather see someone make or hear someone's inferior mix on our live stream and not one of us mixing than feel like we have to do it every single time. So just part of the journey and the process. Next question. Will templates solve all of my life's problems and get me the best results?
We have found this to be false. We have fact-checked. It is false.
Yep. Another way that Adam spends a lot of time of his coaching calls, of someone hops on a call and they're like, "Hey, I bought this mix template from so-and-so place." Not from us. We don't sell mix templates.
Right, yeah.
We sell the knowledge. Whenever I think about this, I'm thinking about the Ty Lopez commercials that there used to be an ad on YouTube. He's like, "Here I am in my garage. You know what's better than Lamborghinis? Knowledge." And you know what's better than mix templates? Knowledge, right? And use mix templates as a way to kind of get in the mind of people who are good mix engineers, and you can learn a lot from them. But the reason why we give you a mix template kind of as an added bonus to the course is because you should not be mixing in a box if you don't really know how a DAW works.
Yeah.
So
It's kind of a starting point.
yeah, totally. Do we need a hardware MIDI controller? Because that's a popular thing to have. Like you could have the PreSonus fader port, you could have a Korg Nano control. But what have we found there?
No, I've found that to also be false. That's not necessary.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people kind of get into this mindset that an audio console has physical faders, and if it doesn't, you can't mix on it. And I ran into that when I installed a LV1 from Waves, the LV1 system at my church, and it was kind of a concern like, well, how can we mix when we don't have physical faders? And the entire world that runs on touchscreens was totally fine with using touchscreens to mix.
Really?
Yeah, isn't that weird?
But the iPhone, it doesn't have physical buttons. Is it gonna work?
You can still use it as a phone.
So no, we found this. Like, I mean, it's cool to have physical faders, and I think there's some really nice control surfaces out there. But I find it's always kind of quirky, like getting the scribble strips to look amazing with what's the DAW saying, and like if you're gonna have a really nice setup, you got to do what they have at like Red Rocks or Belonging Co., where they've got like, it's funny because they've got 5 fader banks, and then they've got like 5 iPads, right?
Yeah.
So for us, we're like, let's just use the iPads, right?
Yep.
We like using the Touchable app.
Yep.
Really great app, and it gives you really good visual feedback on your audio, your levels, and the faders, and navigating around it. And you can get an iPad. I was just looking on eBay for like $100 or something like that, like $100 to $200. I mean, you can get a new iPad. It'd be sweet to have like a big iPad Pro.
Yeah.
Like that. Maybe,
Or 2 iPads, we could see.
Maybe we'll just ask put it on our wish list for Santa Claus here for Christmas time. Who knows? But yeah, those are our thoughts on like, do I really need a hardware MIDI controller?
We had a hardware MIDI controller, and when I started doing the broadcast mixing, I just moved it out of the way because I preferred the iPad.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's just an iPad and a Stream Deck, and between those two things.
Yep.
Yep.
Maybe even a small one, like where you just have maybe enough faders for your lead vocalists or something like that. That's kind of nice. Like something that has like, if you're really consistently having to adjust levels of one particular thing, could be cool. Or effects, I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, so next question. Do I need all the fancy plugins, waves, the SSL stuff, the CLA stuff, the auto-tune, the drum replacement, things like that? So like what folks need to do? What do they need to do when it comes to investing into plugins?
I really think that the 2 plugins, if you're going to buy any plugins, like if you have a limited budget, drum replacement and vocal tuning are really the most important things. Like an EQ and a compressor, there's one in Ableton. It works pretty much just as well.
Yep.
Like, if you're trying to impress your audiophile friends with your live stream, you could, or if you're trying to look cool, you could get more cool plugins. But if you're trying to make it so your volunteers like understand and, can mix one chain to the next chain and understand it better, stock plugins work pretty well.
Yeah, that's one thing we're doing with this update. Obviously, we have a stock plugin template. We'll be improving that, but even for our more advanced template, it's like let's even try to still lean more on stock plugins where they really do the job just as well, but then only introduce the more advanced plugins like when there's no stock plugin that can do it.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, those are all the general questions kind of about the process and the concepts that we cover in broadcast mix mastery. Then there's also a lot of questions because a lot of folks are signing up this week about the training itself. So like all of our courses, it's on demand. So it's not like we're hosting a live stream or something like that and you miss it. If you miss it, like, no, it's on demand video. It's like Netflix. It's up there. And you can watch it whenever you want. So you do get lifetime access. You can watch the videos whenever you want. You'll get instant access to existing courses that we have in the training already, but then we'll be releasing the new lessons over the next 2 months, and then you'll see the kind of a tentative schedule of those dates and topics we'll be covering in October, November, probably into December as well. And then can your team access? Yes, we give team access to pretty much every course that you sign up for because it's only useful when your team members can also learn these things as well. So you'll have a master account, then there will be sub accounts for your team members to log in and work through the training as well. And then how long do I have access to the course? You'd have lifetime access. So like if you already bought Broadcast Mix Mastery when we launched it last year, then you still get access to this new version of it. You don't have to pay for an upgrade. You get the new version. So so as long as Churchfront is in business and the internet is up and running, and both of those things, I think they've got quite a long time ahead of them. You'll be set to go and have access to the training. Anything else to add, Adam?
Yeah, one question that I think we missed is people ask, how do you listen to the broadcast mix?
Oh, yeah.
So we have different solutions for that, and that's, it can be unique. So if you wanted to hop on a coaching call and chat through it exactly how you'd want to set it up, we can do that.
Yep. Monitoring can be as simple or as fancy as you want it. So we do have a cool way that's like a non-destructive way of soloing the different channels without messing up the mix. We'll be walking through that thoroughly within the training. So that's all we have for you guys today. Check out the link below. Get that 60% off Broadcast Mix Mastery before that discount ends in less than 2 days from now. And I can't wait to see you on the inside of the training.